Hello and welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you Transformers news from around the world and across Australia. And this week it's definitely across Australia. This is episode 262. We are recording, that's a large number. We are recording live on Saturday, October the 6th, 2022. In this week's episode, we will be discussing the fact that the one hot rod to rule them all has finally arrived. Velocitron's got a new leader class figure. There we go. Yeah, no, I've been watching Rings of Power. Give me a break. Hasbro's Investor Day brings us a little news, but no surprises. All that and more is coming up or not in this week's episode after this. Hello and welcome to the show. I am Jason. Joining me tonight, we have an East Coast huddle. After last week's episode, we went wide across Australia. This week we're sticking on the eastern seaboard. Daria is joining me from Canberra. How are you doing down there, Daria?
Pretty darn good. How are you doing, Jason?
It's very wet. It's very wet up in Sydney. There's been a lot of rain this week, and apparently we're expecting Apparently, we're expecting 50 to 60 millimeters of rain tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty similar here.
Yeah. It's not that much. It's not that fast. It's not that far to the south. So, good luck. I hope you have a boat. I don't, but I'm also not on the ground floor of my apartment block. Although a lot of my Transformers are on the lowest level of the car park. So we'll see how that goes. It has been but a week since the last show, and it's been a few weeks since we've had yourself on. What's been happening? Did you go to Oz Comic Con in Canberra?
No, I didn't get. I have been incredibly busy since I was last on, and there have been so many occasions I have not got to go to because I've been going to other occasions, and sadly, Comic Con I didn't get to, which was a shame because it looked good.
We famously got to the one in Sydney, but wanted to go to the one in Canberra. I think it was the week prior, but circumstances conspired to prevent it. So I was hoping that it was all right. We will eventually find someone who's been to Oz Comic Con Canberra, or maybe we'll go next year. We'll see how we go.
Well, I'm hoping to.
It's been an interesting week in local news around Australia. I think there's been one story that's been dominating the news in terms of local retail for the last couple of days, which is the I'm going to say unfortunate demise of Bulletproof Villain. One of the local retail stores appears to have bitten the dust. They had a big sale on for the last couple of weeks, which it appears was a bit of a clearance sale, but they sort of pitched it as a spring cleaning sale, but there were rumours flying around that the writing was on the wall for the company. Bit of a shame to see them go. And also people in the comments are actually pointing out that I did get the date wrong on the intro. It is indeed not.
I didn't want to be that person.
It isn't. That is what happens when we copy and paste the run sheets from week to week, folks. I am sorry. I only just opened up the comments tab, and I'm just faced with a wall of comments going, nope. Anyway, Bulletproof Villain has closed their site as of today, and they've removed their Facebook page, which did cause quite a few ripples of consternation to go around the local community. It's not just Transformers either. There's been questions raised in Marvel Legends groups and Masters of the Universe groups, and people just wondering what the hell is going on with the business. They did post an explanation on their site today saying they are unfortunately closing down, and you should look for an email in the next week if you have outstanding pre-orders that will explain how to get a refund. It is nice that they have finally seen fit to comment on all of the rumours and the like, but they do lose some points from me because they were still taking pre-orders yesterday. There's been pre-orders listed on their site this whole time. It kind of stings because they obviously knew that they were going to be closing down, And I think it's a bit disingenuous to have a spring cleaning sale that's obviously a closing down sale and just not call it that. I mean, they could have contacted all of their customers with outstanding pre-orders early and said, "Hey, this is what's happening, and we're going to have a closing down sale." But instead, they just haven't made any public comments now until they're gone. So, bit of a shame. It's always a shame to see retailers sort of go down in flames like that. But at least they do seem to be committed to getting people's money back to them, which is a good thing to hear.
Yeah, that kind of snuck up on me, that one. I mean, obviously, I don't know exactly what happened at their end and why they did what they did when they did. But yeah, I remember that announcement came not long after I'd been considering making a bunch of pre-orders with them. And I was like, well, that's lucky I decided to hold fire on that, isn't it? And others are less lucky, and they've promised everyone their money back, but I'm sure there's a lot of people going, well, like, if I'd known, I would have just not set this in motion in the first place.
It's true. Like I said, I think it's a bit unfortunate they still kept pre-orders live on the site when they probably should have taken them down and been a bit more responsible with people's money. The problem with something like this is that people could go onto their site and pre-order something that's coming a few months away, and those pre-orders could have closed elsewhere and now they'll get their money back, but they'll have to find a higher price to pre-order.
And that's exactly. I didn't think of that.
That's always the problem when businesses close up. But at least if you know you're going to close up, maybe don't take people's money for pre-orders.
We're going to move swiftly on and get to the news. Straight into news.
Hasbro news.
That will take us into some news.
What news comes from by yonder?
So some slightly more pleasant news. Let's talk about nice things, shall we? There's a bunch of new toys and a bunch of new pre-orders that have been released locally. We have seen the Velocitron Wave 2 Deluxes starting to spread around at more Kmart stores. And if I reach over here, goodness, who's that? If I reach over here, there's Velocitron Shadow Strip, one of the Wave 2 Deluxes. You can expect to see Shadow Strip, and Crasher is around here somewhere, but I don't know where because my cat kept knocking her off the table last week. So I just left her wherever she fell. So the Velocitron Wave 2 Deluxes are starting to turn up in Kmart stores. There's For every crate of 8 of them, there's 3 shadow strips and 3 crashes, and 1 clamp down and 1 burnout. So if you see sort of those remnants of a box hanging around on the shelf, you can tell whether or not your store used to have them. We have also seen that stores are still restocking Velocitron Deluxes. I saw a friend of mine who sighted a Cosmos in the flesh or in the plastic, let's say, just today. So there is definitely restocks of those figures happening. And if you are looking for a Cosmos, courage, you might eventually find one. See how you go. Have you picked up any of the Velocitron wave down there?
This was when I actually changed my collecting angle partway through, because I thought the Velocitronians were just going to be that. What we now know is Wave 1. It was going to be a sort of that and done. And I was going to just go, I'll just get this cool little squad. And now that there's a Wave 2 and they just keep popping up, I sort of going, I'm not quite sure I wanted all these Velocitron guys. So I've gone back to, now it's, and obviously this is where they're keeping some decidedly random characters. And
it is a bit of a mixed bag of characters, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's not even quite what you'd expect the fast car characters, because you've got some of them. I mean, they're putting Hot Rod in there just in case there aren't enough Hot Rods being released in other lines and sublines. They're putting a Hot Rod in there with. Well, this is another Legacy Hot Rod. We're not spoiling anything.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
But then there's Road Hauler, because cranes are known for their racing capacity, and you go, okay, Cosmos is like the referee or the commentator or something, and you need a couple more cars. Then there's other stuff like, I think this is just kind of becoming their surprise subline. Because a lot of these ones we're finding out about almost just as they're appearing on the shelf.
Yeah, some of these. I mean, that was the case with the Wave 2 Deluxes that ended up in New Zealand. We had heard sort of what they were, but we very famously didn't realize that Shadow Strip was Shadow Strip. We thought that it was Shadow Striker. And yeah, so I believe the proper Wave 2 announcement actually came today in at Walmart CollectorCon. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. What else has turned up locally? The movie Masterpiece series has turned up at JB Hi-Fi stores in force as well. JB Hi-Fi is turning into a really great place to get Transformers if you're looking for a good spread of figures. They've got the Golden Disc set. They've got Shattered Glass. They've got Movie Masterpiece now. I wonder how long it'll be before they end up with regular Masterpiece figures as well. And we are expecting them to start stocking Wave 3 of Legacy this month as well. We'll see. And they also have a bunch of pre-orders up. In fact, I might just bring that. I'll just bring that up just to illustrate. If you go onto the JB Hi-Fi website and you search for Transformers, you can filter by availability to show pre-orders, and you can see all of Legacy Evolution is showing up there for next year. You can also see the Legacy A Hero Is Born 2-pack with the Scourge repaint into Alpha Trion and the Cup repaint into Orion Pax, and the Bauble that is Vector Sigma along with a key. And there's Shattered Glass Soundwave there as well. Now we are gonna come back and talk a little bit about Shattered Glass Soundwave in a minute, but we are also just going to show that the Pulsecon figures are also available, not just Transformers as well. If you go to EB Games and you search for Pulsecon 22, all the Pulsecon reveals will show up there. You can see they also have the Hero Is Born pack there as well. I've also got a bunch of Star Wars things, and yeah, all the other figures from other lines that were revealed at Pulsecon as well. A bit of a wider range for that. Well, not so much a wider range. It's just EB Games tends to have all the different lines, whereas I think JB Hi-Fi doesn't quite have everything yet. Interesting there that there's a bit of a price difference on the Hero Is Born set. That's $104 at JB Hi-Fi and $118 at EB Games. So if you do pre-order it at EB Games, you might be able to get them to price match JB Hi-Fi once it gets released, and that is coming out on, according to JB Hi-Fi, 1st of November. So it is hitting Asia overseas. Spoiler: I may have a couple of the figures sitting in front of me here. It is hitting Asia and the like now, and it'll hit Australia next month by the looks of it. So Chris in the comments says, "Someone please talk me out of the Heroes Born bundle." Sorry, mate, not going to happen. I've got it here. I really like it. Going to show it off in new acquisitions later on. So we will see how it goes. That is about it for local orders. There is also a sale that's been going on at Amazon. I'll also mention as well. I don't have the link to bring up for that there, but there's a few good discounts on figures at Amazon that you might have been keeping your eye on. So it's always a good idea to keep an eye on things there with Amazon. Sales tend to pop up and come and go. And I think Amazon actually has some kind of a Prime Day sale coming up in a week's time or so in October sometime. So there might be some more Transformers stuff going on discount soon. With that done, so having talked about that, I do want to bring up something important about these pre-orders, which is there's a really big price difference on Shattered Glass Soundwave to what's come before in that line. The Shattered Glass line does usually sit above retail, but not this far above retail. We are talking about a Voyager figure with a slightly remolded head and the MicroMasters does not really justify the $114. If you ask me, if you think the $114 is a little bit much, then fear not. You can always go to EB Games, where it's $138. I don't understand it. I mean, Soundwave is a hot character. Soundwave is basically the character that we've all been waiting for in the Shatterglass line ever since Shatterglass, Optimus Prime, and Ratchet 2-pack came out a couple of years ago. But my goodness, the price. Yeah.
And surely they're not pricing it based on this is the Netflix mold we know you all want factor, because that doesn't seem right.
Surely not. Surely not. I say, but I don't actually know what the logic behind the pricing is. It is too much for a Voyager. I suspect that it might well shelf warm at this price. There'll be a few people who will buy it no matter what. But I think it might well sit on shelves, and you might end up getting it on sale. We'll see how we go. Yeah.
The only reason it attracts me is because it has my two complete favorite Shattered Glass characters in the one box. So
it's Soundwave and Ravage, isn't it?
It's it's Soundwave and Ravage.
Of course.
Laserbeak is just along for the ride. But yeah, that gives it the extra pull for me. But I think for anyone who's not either feels like me or is heavily into Shattered Glass or really, really has to have that mold, it's gonna shelf warm, or they're gonna start. I'm sure there's a word for it where it comes out at a huge price, and then the retailers go, crap, and drop it severely after a few weeks.
That is what we call a deep discount.
That's the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will see how that goes. Rob has pointed out that you are paying $114 for a Shattered Glass Ravage. You get a Soundwave with it, and Laserbeak, as you said, is just along for the ride. So with that done, let's talk briefly about American releases. But I don't think I've got. Oh no, I do have a picture for that. The Yellow Devastator the Yellow Devastator repaint that is the Tonka collaborative, which I gotta say I'm actually looking quite forward to. That is out at US retail. As you can see there, it carries a US retail price of $105. I don't believe this one is coming to Australia, so if you want it, you may need to import it. And also hearing that, I know for a fact that Legacy Wave 3 is out in Asia, and I say I know that for a fact because I've got Starscream sitting in front of me here as well. So there's a bunch of overseas Transformers releases that are going to become important to people in Australia in the next few weeks, and I'm pretty sure that we're expecting to see Legacy Wave 3 hit locally this month as well. With that said and done, should we talk about some news?
Let's go.
All right.
News comes from over yonder.
A lot of news does come over from the States. Let's go. The first big news is that the King has returned. Hot Rod is back. G1 Hot Rod is back in actually a really highly anticipated new form. It must be said. There has been a lot of discussion amongst the Transformers community going for years now about why exactly Hot Rod's original toy was not this pinkish magenta-y hue which matches his on-screen appearance. They sort of actually sorry, it's not matching his on-screen appearance. It's the original toy as it was originally pictured was meant to have this magenta appearance, and there are also some of the scenes in the movie where the color matches this layout a lot better as well. When the toy originally came out, he was red and distinctly red or a darker maroon, let's say, and didn't really match up with the character's appearance on screen. Now, we did hear earlier in the year at, I think it was San Diego Comic-Con, someone asked the Transformers design team a question about whether or not we'll ever see a pink repaint of Hot Rod. They did say at the time that they're aware of the demand, because this is a meme that's bounced around the Transformers community for a while now, and they said they're aware of the demand for a big hot rod, and they didn't say anything much at the time other than, stay tuned. So the big reveal for us in America, not in America, in Australia, when we got up this morning, was that in America they announced a new G1 hot rod repaint at Walmart's Collectorcon overnight, and he is in his the pink color scheme. But more than that, if you people will look at this and just go, I don't, it looks just like hot rod. But when you put it side by side with a hot rod, the differences actually really become apparent on that. Like, there's no stickers for the flame anymore. The flame is part of the paint job. It makes him look way more animation accurate. The arrow stickers gone from the legs make the legs look really different as well. The deco, there's a lot of care taken on the deco of where the paint applications are. It looks leaps and bounds much better than I ever expected a pink hot rod could look. It's instantly jumped onto the top of my to buy list if I get a chance to get one, and I think I will. What do you think of this? What do you think of this new hot rod reissue, Daria?
It surprised me, partly that it finally happened.
I know it's been years. We'll talk about the box art in a minute as well, but yeah. But
they were also that we're well and truly possibly give or take a mold repair here or there, going right back to the original toy. That there have been so many hot rods / Rodimuses over the years that when it comes to the movie, they're going right back to, this is the toy that would have been at the time of the movie. So it's almost taking studio series off in a parallel or even perpendicular direction. I don't know if I'll pick him up. I'll probably think further and think about how much he costs. I'm wondering, is this the beginning of a thing, or they just go, hey, let's just put out a couple of these just for fun because everyone loves the idea of a magenta hot rod? Yeah, he definitely.
You are right. Evan did actually say on his Instagram it's magenta, but we all know it's pink hot rod, right?
Oh yeah. No, that's my design brain kicking in. I'm
gonna jump back over here and bring up the box art as well. There's the box art is by famed Transformers artist Marcelo Mater. The box art is interesting. The boxes are gorgeous. Like the amount of color on there. There's this big Transformers the movie logo. I like the sort of the
that
new...
caught my eye more than the figure, to be honest.
I know, yeah, it really did. Also, the scene that the box is depicting actually appears to be like an Autobot shuttle encountering Unicron, which didn't actually happen in the movie, but still. I also really like the new sort of treatment that they've given how the names appear on the box with this big band of color at the bottom. Like that's sort of a nice inversion of how they often put characters' names and ranks on there. Autobot Cavalier is definitely a throwback to his G1 box. The interesting thing that's been pointed out about this art, though, is that the artwork appears to be based more on the recent Studio Series versions of these characters. And I say characters because we are also getting a Starscream in this line, and it definitely looks more like the Studio Series release of the Earthrise Seeker mold in this depiction for Starscream. The box dimensions are slightly different as well, and in this case, Unicron's artwork does not actually bleed down into the forest in the background of Autobot City. So I did show off that we're getting Starscream there. There's a look at Starscream in basically in animation accurate colors. It does appear to be the Starscream mold that we've been getting, I think, for the last sort of 15, 16 years or so. It comes with the Megatron gun, not an accessory that originally came with Starscream, but still a welcome addition. And he comes with the modified fists so that he can actually hold weapons. And in this case, Starscream's face appears to be painted nicely with his trademark red eyes there as well. And I personally appreciate the fact that Hasbro is trolling fans everywhere by continuing to make one of his guns point upwards.
Yeah, I was noticing that.
Yeah, it's a mistake, so to speak, that goes right the way back to the original G1 catalogs. So yeah, I really appreciate that it's quite consistent here. But I really love the colors on this mold. I do have this mold because I do have the Takara Transformers collection, the so-called book style reissues. So I already have this, but to be perfectly honest, I'm probably inclined to buy one anyway. So, yeah, we'll see. So we're taking a look at Hot Rod. We're taking a look at Starscream. Do you think this might be the beginning of maybe, I guess, the return of the G1 reissues to Walmart, because they have been doing the Beast Wars vintage G1s for a while. I think they did Soundwave, and I think they did Blaster, and there was a cabless Optimus Prime, but that's been it for the vintage reissues for the last couple of years, at least as far as G1 goes. And we've sort of been stuck into the Beast Wars reissues for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think this is them trying something different at least. Sorry. You put it under the movie heading, so you're going to get a lot of the big names from the first 2 or 3 years of the line. And I mean, to start, at least, that's where you're going to be looking. People are going to be looking at Hot Rods and Starscreams. And I mean, I would not be surprised if the regenerated G1 Optimus mold gets popped out again in this line if it continues, because it's basically ready to go, and we know they're not shy about recoloring that.
I know when they did the cab, I think you mean the cabless Optimus Prime. Is that the one?
No, just that the G1 Optimus Prime mold sort of got renewed, sort of a bit tweaked over the years. So it's basically the same.
I thought you meant the most recent reissue was the one that just was the cab only with. Sorry, not cabs, trailerless. The cab only reissue.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's basically from the same kit, but I'm thinking about how they did things like they did a bit of an overhaul to tweak his head a bit and give him hands that can actually hold his gun and a few bits and bobs like that.
Yes, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see that mold make a return, but also the last time they cranked that mold out, it did not sell well. We saw them sit on shelves for a really long time. It was also priced really high, especially here. I think it was like $80 or something like that. It did not sell well, but it did sell. It sold slowly, and I saw a lot of people who would just complain about the price, but then people would buy it anyway. So maybe there does remain a bit of an appeal in the old G1 Optimus Prime mold already. I want to put a couple of the comments that we've got up here, and this is one of the questions about sort of old molds versus new molds. Chris says, as rad as it is to see these old remakes, it's hard to go back to legit G1 molds when it's spoiled with what we've had for the last few years. It is a golden age of Transformers, and we do get a lot of options these days with superior articulation and the like. But there's definitely something about those old G1 molds, and maybe it is really just nostalgia, but they're still fun talking points to have on a shelf, I think. Rob asks, what shops will these appear in? I can tell you that the information that I've got from Hasbro says that these are coming to Australia. They are coming to Australia a little bit late, so we will be waiting until May 2023 for these. There's a January 2023 US release for them, and it'll probably end up being about the time that they come out in Asia as well. We will be waiting a little bit until May, but they will be available, and they will go up for pre-order at some point as well. So you can, I guess you can probably guess from the fact that there will be pre-orders. You can probably guess which retailers might or might not have them. Last I checked, I don't think Kmart does pre-orders, and Kmart's been the place that these have gone previously. But maybe Kmart's not that interested in them anymore. We'll see how we go. To the question of roster, it is interesting. Like these molds have been reissued before, so I feel like there still remains a few limitations and conditions on what G1 toys they can reissue. So they can't just magically reissue everything. There's a lot of hearsay around the internet saying that a lot of molds are broken for G1 figures, but my understanding is that they're not actually broken. I've heard mention on other podcasts and the like saying that the molds are not broken, but they're incompatible. They're incompatible with modern equipment, so they need to actually do some work on those molds to make them something that they can actually run on modern equipment and recreate these toys. So they'll only really do that if they think that that character is something that they can bring back and sell. So Hot Rod obviously was already done because he's been reissued. I think this will be the second time that toy's been reissued recently. He also saw a reissue in the Walmart reissue line a couple of years ago. Starscream, it's also the second run for Starscream from a Walmart reissue, and we did just see prior to this, we did just see the Tonkanator set as well. Devastator, also a mold that was I'm not sure if the mold was updated or whatever, but you would assume they would have had to update it in order to reissue it for the Walmart Devastator reissue of a couple of years ago. So I think it's perhaps telling that we've got Devastator, Hot Rod, and Starscream coming out kind of within 6 months of each other, let's say. I think the well of G1 reissues that they'll go to might be a little bit limited. And as you mentioned, there's an Optimus Prime too.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but just watching the reissues and what condition the figures from the mold seem to have been in over the years, it looks like every so often they decide, okay, this mold is worth restoring or remaking or whatever it is they actually do for their particular equipment. And that's why I mentioned the slight do-over of the Optimus Prime mold, because there are definite changes, but obviously, or not obviously, but it would not be surprising if someone said, okay, we're looking what molds we can invest and get return in fixing. Optimus Prime is Optimus Prime, so we can do that and probably be sure of, still making something of it. And Starscream, the Seekers often are popular, and there is that whole, you make one, you've got 3 characters right away and 6 characters with minor tweaking, and even more if you go outside the realms of the original line.
You're right. In fact, the Coneheads did get a re-release about 6 years ago on the Platinum line under I think it was a part of Combiner Wars or Titan's Return. So updated tooling does exist for the Coneheads wings to be changed as well. So there's another win as well. There's a couple of questions in the comments saying, can we expect the other Walmart reissues to be re-released perhaps? And they do fit in a Transformers the movie branding, so like Soundwave and Blaster would definitely fit in that as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them come back for another run. Rob says that if they do a movie color repaint of Blur, I'll get it. I don't know if the Blur figure has ever actually been re-released. I think after it got its updated Target Master tooling a year or so after its original release, I don't think it's ever come back. Someone can correct me in the comments, and I'll see. And Chris says maybe this is the gateway for a G1 Unicron in line. Mate, I think if they did a G1 Unicron, it would be an epic thing. That was meant to be a massive, enormous toy. I don't see them coming out with a G1 style Unicron. Having said that, I'm sure you're aware from the last episode of the episode before we did that Super 7 is in fact bringing a G1 toy prototype Unicron figure to market as well. So if you do fancy that G1 prototype, you do have options to get that. And Nameless Facebook user does confirm, as you said, the Optimus Prime mold has been reinvented and tweaked since the 80s. I'm sure it has happened several times as well. So there we go. So those are the big reveals for Walmart Collecticon. The G1 Hot Rod in pink and the G1 Starscream coming back at you. Walmart also officially revealed the contents of the remains of the Velocitron line for Wave. I was going to say Season 2 for Wave 2. There's the G2 Universe Shadow Strip, which we know about. There is there's the G2 Crasher, who is apparently not a part of that, not a part of this news story, although she is there. I am going to sneeze, so give me a second.
Well, I got to say, yeah, I guess GoBot's Universe Crasher was just a bit too on the nose for them.
Yeah, I was look. They own the rights to GoBots, so they could use it, but they didn't. I actually think TFW's just forgotten to put Crasher in the story there. We do know Crasher's there in that release. As you can see, there is another hot rod that was discussed today and revealed there, and that is the toy color repaint of the Studio Series hot rod. So, Studio Series hot rod was closer to pink, but was still really red. So this goes closer to his toy colors with a darker red, a maroon sort of tinge. While the G1 reissue has gone much more towards his animation colours.
It's certainly one of those things that you don't really realise the difference so much until you see them next to each other. And
very much, yeah.
The other hot rod looks suddenly incredibly dark, and the movie pink one just looks ever so bright. And I mean, obviously, there's a side essay there on subjective colour perception, but yeah, it is a lot of those you don't notice until you really sit down and compare. And I mean, Starscream's probably a similar one, except he doesn't have a whole "why isn't he pink" meme, or maybe he should. I don't know.
I think with Starscream, the thing with Starscream, at least with the toy original, I think was the color of his canopy was also I think quite different on the original release of the figure. I can't quite remember though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Takara did a "Hey, look, animation colors Starscream" at some point as well.
Yeah, so that would be the TFC the book style reissue, which this still seems to be sort of based on that mold. But and that was that for that one they made the canopy yellow, as we can see here as well. It is interesting seeing the Studio Series hot rod in the darker maroon colors. It actually makes it feel more like the Masterpiece to me. But the other thing that I wanted to look at is who's doing who's drawing the flames at Hasbro these days, because they've got wildly different flames on the G1 hot rod versus the Studio Series hot rod. And Studio Series hot rod I thought was meant to be more screen accurate, but I don't remember the flames looking like that on hot rod in the movie.
No, are they the same flames as on the actual Studio Series? They didn't copper.
They might be
change.
It's somewhere behind me or in a box somewhere, so I can't really tell. I can bring it up in another window. Let's have a look. Nothing can possibly go wrong with like live Googling things while we're streaming, right? It does appear that, in fact, no, the flames on the original Studio Series hot rod are very different. Let me bring this up here.
And I'm in the wrong room to look at Commander Rodimus, which probably have variation again, to be honest.
So that's much more accurate to the G1. So yeah, so the G1 toy color. I wonder what the flames look like on the G1 hot rod toy. Let's you know what they so let's let's figure out how to do this. So I'll open the new image in the new tab. Right. So what we're looking at here. So we've got the pic here from Maz. So what we've got is the toy accurate Velocitron repaint of the Studio Series 86 figure actually has toy accurate flames, whereas the G1 cartoon accurate version of the toy has cartoon accurate flames. If you can make sense of that while saying it 10 times fast, more power to you. I'm still not sure that I actually said that correctly, but I think I got it right. So one is more towards toy.
I do know that the design process for a lot of the movie characters basically split in two at some point, and it got revised and smoothed out. At one point, there was like, this is what the characters are going to look like, but they sort of got revised differently from there in different directions. One for the toy and one for the actual animation. And if you the most notable difference, if you're not looking too hard, is that the redesigned RC has her shoulders on backwards compared to what we used to.
Right. So which RC do you mean?
Well, the actual character of RC in this case, if you see her character model when they put it in Transformers Universe, or say this is the RC character model, which has been done a lot for pretty much every character ever, her big shoulder things that become her fenders as a vehicle are on the front of her shoulders. They cover up her actual joints.
I have seen that before. Yeah, I have seen that pointed out. Yes, that's right. Yeah, not something you can probably do with a toy accurate re-release of the figure.
Yeah, but on the actual animation, they're on her back. And yeah, there are differences. Like on those models, Rodimus Prime looks kind of saggy. The Decepticons kind of look a little bit more hunched over and I suppose eviler. And I mean I believe that's how we ended up with grey or purple Galvatron as well.
Yes, also one of my personal favorites, the Ray Galvatron as well. Nameless Facebook says it's time to Google some Florida designs, I think. So yes, I agree. I agree too. And Chris says perhaps the 86 movie G1 line will put up an RC. I would be really surprised as there is no G1 RC. I don't think they would create one just for this line, unfortunately. But there is the recent Studio Series 86 version of RC with which is the retool of the Thrilling 30. I really do quite like that figure. I think that's quite a good RC. We should move on. We do have some other news, which is actually related to one of the characters that we see here, which is out of order, but there we go. The leader for Velocitron Wave 2 has finally been confirmed. He's due for release in the US, and it is the Victory Universe, which I think this might be the first time we've seen Victory Universe used on a toy name. The Victory Universe Galaxy Shuttle. Now we are looking at an Astro Train repaint. Astro Train has not been repainted or retooled up until now, so we would have known that this was coming eventually. But the new colours are a bright white with black edges to sort of be reminiscent of the original Autobot Galaxy Shuttle. Bright red weapons and a few extra pieces along for the ride because he is a retool of Astro Train. I gotta say the shuttle mode I think looks great. The train mode looks naff, but that's okay. Galaxy Shuttle never had a train mode, so it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, this was one of the ones that sprung up on us that I talked about before. I mean, Galaxy Shuttle. Who was holding out for Galaxy Shuttle? Not a lot of people. Who remembered Galaxy Shuttle?
But a few people were. It's very
Well,
strange.
yeah.
A few people were holding out for Galaxy Shuttle because they're like, that Astro Train is right there and he is a shuttle.
Oh,
But,
go figure.
yeah.
I also think Hasbro might finally have got wind of the people saying, "Oh, why do they just keep doing Optimus and Bumblebee and Megatron, etc., over and over again? Why do we have to have the same popular characters over?" And Hasbro were like, "Fine, hold my energon. Look, here's this guy that hasn't been seen anywhere in 33 years."
Yeah, if you thought that Toy Accurate Hot Rod was a deep cut, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, as the fiction nerd lady, I can't remember him doing anything significant, anything much significant in the show he's actually from, let alone popping up in anything since, except the occasional IDW or maybe animated crowd filler.
Yeah, I think you often see like Easter eggs and references that reference this guy, but nothing much like a starring role. Actually, just looking at the box art here, I have noticed. I looked at these images here, and I thought it's the inside of his leg is very much exposed. Seeing the white color there, but when you look at it on his box art, it's actually black. So maybe we're looking at an unfinished or an unpainted prototype, or maybe they just changed the colors on the final release.
See which one it actually ends up as.
Yeah, I think I much prefer that darker color there. I will also just point out that on the box art, the train looks way better than it does in here. And you know why? I think it's actually because the train. No, it's just a different angle. I think
It's got a lot more dark on that train as well on the box compared to the photo. You're
right.
Photo.
There's all this white at the top of it that's not there at the box, and that's probably the stuff that's inside the legs here as well. So maybe there's something to that. But yeah,
I think the dark grey also lets him on the train mode get a bit away for a bit more as it's dark grey, it's steel, industrial, like a train is.
Yeah, I think. I mean, knowing that the stuff that goes in the box is often CG renders, I think it's probably a better color design for the guy. But maybe we just won't get it. But
I also know that particular Astro Train figure. I know, and well, this is going to surprise no one, that it is very much a take a photo from this angle. It looks amazing. Take a photo from this angle. Oh, I paid actual money for this.
Yeah, that might be something that's held it back from being reused and re-released, but still. Rob says this is an odd choice. I'm surprised an Astro Train repaint didn't end up in the Shattered Glass series. You're actually kind of right. I mean, in a way, this is very much a Shattered Glass Astro Train with the sort of the brighter color palette, and being an Autobot instead of a Decepticon. But the Shattered Glass range has also been doing double duty as bringing in characters from other universes and shunting them over into the Shattered Glass universe. So, I could see that. And Luke says it looks like Jazz got a job working with NASA. Very true. Jazz got a job working with NASA and had to scan a new alt mode. So there we go. Right. So, Galaxy Shuttle is coming out in December in the US, hopefully around the same time here. We've seen. I don't know what we're going to see. I don't know if we'll see this guy.
Also,
go,
this is what I was talking about before with the. This is not a race car.
No, this is not a race car at all. I can only assume that Galaxy Shuttle is there to, I don't know, bring tourists to the Speedia 500 or something like that.
Because he seems he would very much be a game breaker in the actual Velocitron 500.
He might be, but also you have to remember that from the starting line, he'll have to go and find a space shuttle launch pad that he can actually
have to get a couple of those big old canisters, and
he might not have that advantage for that reason if he has to stay in disguise. But either way, I don't actually have the Siege or Earthrise because it was released in both. I actually don't have the Astro Train mold. Kind of tempted to get this one. I like to have different colors of things in my collection, so kind of tempted. We do know that the Velocitron leaders, the Scourge leader, got an absolutely fantastic price at Kmart. I think it was $79, and we are still waiting for EB Games to honour their $60 price point for that, which we still don't know where that popped up. So whether this guy will end up at $60 at EB Games, great price for a leader, but probably more likely to be around 90. I think it would be nice if Kmart holds the price down for them. Yeah, we'll see. I would expect to see this come to Australia, given that we've got Shadow Strip and Crasher already as well.
Yeah, seems like a fair guess.
I think so. So a little bit of also overseas international news. Earthspark's deluxe figures are now up for order on Hasbro Pulse. That doesn't really help us very much. That doesn't really help us very much with Australian orders, but we do know that they are coming out in February in Australia, and we know that because I actually got to use and play with some of these at Oz Comic Con. I got to say, Twitch is the highlight for me. I like Twitch. New character, new alt mode. She transforms into a drone. It's an alt mode we haven't seen for a Transformer before. She feels very much like the Prime Universe RC from the first wave of Legacy, but clearly not, and clearly not a retool or anything like that. But yeah, original mold, original character. I also these product shots, more than anything else that I've ever seen, look like Transformers down on the farm. Megatron is running along to tend to his flock somewhere. Like we don't know where, but like, you know, one of the pigs obviously needs attention. Bumblebee is proudly standing in front of that barn there, and Twitch appears to be you know, like, I don't know, painting the fence or something like that. Yeah, definitely getting a down on the farm vine from here. Rob says the Megatron mold looks interesting. I agree. Megatron does look interesting in that he's basically what did they say he was? I think he's a personnel carrier or some kind of an armored personnel carrier, an APC. Looks more interesting than it is, unfortunately. Out of these deluxes, you can see Bumblebee definitely has ankle tilt mechanism. Twitch definitely has as well, and Megatron does not. So like, it's kind of like Cyberverse, where some of the figures get, you know, all the articulation, and some of them sort of miss out a little bit. But Megatron's got a very nice, imposing presence on him, and so I think that complexity in the rest of his design does sort of compensate for the lack of ankle tilts on him there.
I think these look. I mean, these are the only pictures I've seen of these properly done. Anyway, I might have seen another.
They are the official product shots for them. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I haven't really formed an opinion about what I've seen of this line yet. I mean, maybe that's just because there's been so much other stuff I haven't focused, or I've been sort of mentally putting it aside until the television series actually comes out. But I'd say at the moment, with what little I know, they look fine.
I tend to agree. I'll bring up my own photos.
As well. That looks a bit better because the the lighting in the other was washing them out a bit, possibly just to fit into the background.
The product shots are very bright, I find, for them, and you can also see Bumblebee's sort of got a gun handout on as well here as well. That is just covering his fist; it's not replacing it. Kind of like the Stinger that we've had in other molds there as well. So there's a better look at Twitch there as well.
That looks a little bit insectish in her alt mode. Maybe that's deliberate.
A little bit. It is interesting though. Those transparent pieces don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. They're not blades. She's a drone, not anything else. But yeah. I really do like the character design for Twitch, and you can also see that Megatron is there as well. And
he's got
Megatron's
like an
alt mode is
Osprey.
on display. Yeah, yeah, an Osprey is often brought about when comparing these as well. Interesting. Rob says he'd like to see that Megatron copter repainted as highbrow. I could see that work for the robot mode. I don't know.
Maybe a bit of retooling up the front would help it.
Actually, do you know why I'm thoroughly confused by this? Because I've just realised in my head, whenever someone says highbrow, I think hardhead. No, I totally get it as highbrow now. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, very, 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 very good. Yeah, it could happen. We'll find out. Let me go to other photos of these guys as well. So there's another photo of Twitch there as well, and there's Twitch's alt mode. Twitch's alt mode is just really, really cute, and I think just works really well. Also, she's got some serious light piping going on in the back of the head there as well.
Yeah, these photos, I haven't seen these photos before or any from this event, and these make the figures look a lot better to me than the ones we just saw, the official ones. Like I said, they looked a bit washed out, and that might have just been something that happened somewhere on the line or to fit the background. But these, I'm getting a much better idea of their sort of sculpting and
So I'm just trying
posing
to
and
find
things.
the photos there. There we go.
Yeah.
I do think that the product photography for Earthspark is it's definitely a particular style. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that about it. But yeah. So that's there. There's another group shot of the figures that we have seen revealed so far. And as you can see, it says they'll be available from February 2023. And this was also our first look at the packaging, which is not too dissimilar to the existing legacy packaging, with sort of the wedge cut out of the box, and just sort of a particular curve shape that goes with the Earthspark logo treatment as well. And of course, this is the return of the Builder figure to the Transformers line, and
Yeah, I
you're
was
building
wondering
Mandroid in this wave.
Oh,
Mandroid is one of the
that's-
human villains of the
Yeah,
show.
I was going to say they've got some human villains this time around. Yeah.
That's true. Let's see what else do we have here. We've got the other Earthspark figures. They're not these ones are not up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse. There's the one-step flip changer. The one step is that you throw it in the air, and when it hits the ground, it transforms. It's amazing. It's astonishing, and
That's fun.
It's completely counterintuitive to how we usually like to take care of our figures, isn't it?
Who's the white one? The flash is kind of hitting it a bit.
The white one over on the right, that's Wheeljack.
Oh, I can see the name now. It's down there. Okay.
Yeah. So
Right,
I
yeah,
think, given that we've seen Wheeljack in the trailer for Earthspark, we see. I reckon he kind of looks like his Transformers Prime appearance, maybe a little bit streamlined, a little bit modified. Also, I have just noticed that the one-step changes have a big one-step logo on the back of their boxes. That's cool. Throw it, and it bounces, and it transforms, and it's done, and you're done. What more do you want? The other little fidget toys they've got are these little finger formers. They're the size of a finger topper, and they sit on your finger, and you can just sort of like push them up and down to transform them.
That's adorable.
I know, it's so cute, isn't it? Definitely going after the fidget toy market there, I think. What have we got there? And then there's also there's the Warrior class figures, which are a bit of a step down from Deluxe class that we've seen there as well. However, we do have I think that's a Skywarp in the middle there as well. Now, that means Skywarp has a slightly different color scheme to what we're used to seeing here as well, but it also, I think, means Skywarp might be in the show and just not, I don't think it's been announced yet. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, so Earthspark figures, I'll expect that we will see a lot more about these figures over the next coming months as we near release of the series is now a month away, and the toys are following in February 2023. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. What did we also have there? There's a little bit of an update today about a little bit of an update today about MPG 04 Trainbot Suiken has a late June 2023 release date now. So that's probably going to... We know that we know that Takara has been putting the release dates of these guys about 3 months apart. There is a slightly longer gap, I think probably to do with the end of the year. There's a couple of major Masterpiece releases coming up in the next 2 or 3 months. So we can expect the MPG line to take a little bit of a break during this period. And I think the third bot is due in February. So it's a little bit of an extended break for the line, and then it'll be back in February, and then I think June for MPG 04. Have you been collecting the Trainbot Star Hour?
No, just not my scene, or at least not my scene at Masterpiece prices.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think they're bad figures, just not ones I particularly want.
I actually really like the look of them. I haven't opened Getsui yet. I was talking with a friend tonight. I just haven't had time to. I really liked Shuki, and I think Getsui might be a little bit disappointing for people who are really into Shuki's design, because I think Shuki's a sexy bullet train, and Getsui's not that exciting. Just sort of an older carriage style, but the overall quality of the figure, I think, also looks really good. So I'm really looking forward to unpacking him and transforming him, and then putting him up on the shelf next to his brother. What have we got left to talk about? I have not that one. In fact, I didn't open up the story for this, but I do want to scquickly cover off. Hasbro's Investor Day happened today as well, and there's a couple of brief points for things that are coming out of it. I'll take the screen share away from us so it's not distracting us while we're doing this. The big news from Hasbro's Investor Day today is that Earthspark Season 2 has been greenlit before Season 1's even hit the airwaves.
That's such a thing these days.
Well, so it kind of is, but also Season 1 is huge. It's 26 episodes in the first season of Earthspark. So by greenlighting a Season 2, that gives them, the old magic number for syndication of 52. If that's even still a thing anymore with TV shows, I don't know if it is. But I also
a lot of shows go 26, 13, 13. So
yeah, it's probably two production
thing.
deals of 26 as well, but yeah, it gives them that magic number that might be important to them in some markets for syndication and getting the show running week on week. The other news today is that and that's actually Rob asks a very interesting question. Are they 26 regular episodes or 26 10-minute episodes? Haven't seen any indication that Earthspark will be following the Cyberverse 10-minute episode model. I think we're back to a proper animated series with a proper runtime, but it is a very good question and something that I don't think we'll be able to answer until November when the first episode rolls around. I'm also not sure whether they're releasing the entire thing at once or week on week, and I think it might end up being a week on week drop, which might also explain why the toys come out in February. Couple of other things from Hasbro's Investor Day today is that Hasbro's continuing their contract with Paramount for the Transformers live action universe and for G.I. Joe, but for any other Hasbro products, they're all coming back to Entertainment One at the end of their license period, which is about 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see what Hasbro does once they have control of their own franchises again. Also, they did specify that the Paramount contract is for Transformers live action. We do know that there is an animated movie coming up on the production slate as well. That was also announced at the Investor Day. One of the things that I can't quite get my head around as to whether or not this is actually announced or if it's been known for a while or if it's just something that someone on Twitter pulled out of their ass is that apparently Rise of the Beasts is the first in a new trilogy. Is that something that you've heard before? I've
heard it a lot before, but I've not I've not seen it in an official interview or presentation or anything, so I don't know where it comes from. I do know it's been bouncing around as a thing basically since not long after it was announced at all. So whether it was announced at the time but sort of got swallowed in the idea of there being Rise of the Beasts at all, or if it got announced and they changed their mind back and forth, I don't know. But it is not the first time I've heard this. So also take announcements about any Transformers cinematic movie except the one they're actually doing right at the moment with a grain of salt, because basically that's what it's been like ever since 2007, that there's going to be a trilogy based on this, or that this one's going to come out for this summer, or Bumblebee is not a reboot. There's going to be a sequel to Bumblebee direct. Rise of the Beasts is not linked to Bumblebee, and so on. So it's so all over the place, and throw that into the fact that fandom is just throwing what they've heard and what they've made up back and forth, that while I don't want to call anyone liars, it's not one of the most fixed futures that's been had over the years.
So you still think the Terminator might show up if it's not a fixed future?
Yeah, well, I haven't ruled out that someone will think Transformers vs. Terminator will be a good idea as a film, even though the comic was kind of okay.
Yeah. Let's sticking with movie news for a minute. I'm gonna put the screen share back in because apparently one of the takeaways from either Investor Day or Walmart Collecticon or both is that we now actually have our first look at how Optimus Prime will appear in Rise of the Beasts, and so you can see on here there's a look at the new Optimus Prime model in the background there. Very familiar looking head. The body design seems influenced by his Bumblebee presentation, but there's definitely a few additions, and there's very large visors hanging out over the
I was
over
noticing
the
that.
windows.
Surely that's just annoying to you, Optimus.
I know, surely it is just annoying. I don't know.
Maybe they fall down. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. They seem like they are contoured to match the windows. Anyway, I'm sure we'll see a lot of Optimus Prime in Rise of the Beasts, and so all the animation bits and bobs and quirks will probably make some form of sense. But yeah, there's our first look at Optimus Prime. We're going to jump over to the last news story for tonight, which is another look at Optimus Prime, which is the New Zealand Mint. I'll also take that. I'll also take that comment down, which actually goes to what you were saying originally about whether or not Beasts is a sequel, a trilogy, or anything like that. Chris says, "Let's see if Beasts actually makes money."
Well, there's
first.
always that. You're quite right, Chris.
Yes. Sorry, I left that up for a long time on screen there too. Going back here to looking at the Roman. I don't know what is going on here with my browser putting things up in large scale there, but I'm just going to ignore it. The New Zealand Mint has released a 1 ounce silver coin. I think it's legal tender in New Zealand for $2, but it definitely costs more than $2. It's made of silver. It is indeed, as you can see on the screen there, it is $157.42. For your outlay, you do get a very nice silver coin and the with the image of Optimus Prime on it. And I'm going to take the screen share away here as well, because I ordered this when it went up on the New Zealand Mint website last week, and it already arrived.
And here we are.
And I've also found that it's really hard to show people when streaming, because everything reflects off it. But that might be a bit of a look at it there. So yeah, it's a nice sort of hand for scale there. Look at the size of the coin.
Very pretty.
It's packaged in a lovely little case with some G1 artwork on it, magnetic seal on there. And I got to say, I found this I found this really, really annoying. I think I showed these. on the last week's episode. The giant medallions that I got from Zavi. Now, these guys, when they shipped, they actually shipped with the medallions facing up the right way in the box. Not only did they ship facing up the right way. I'm just going to get this. I'm going to get this out. I'm going to try to show this on camera. You can sort of see that there's a little divot at the top, so that you can use this to get the coin out. Do you think the New Zealand Mint one that costs 4 times the price? Do you think the New Zealand Mint coin holder has a little divot so that you can actually get the coin out? I'm just gonna answer no, it does not. I actually struggled for a really long time to figure out what I could actually use to try to get the coin out, because it shipped on an angle, so like it either shipped on an angle, or because coins often come in protective plastic cases, and like I'm trying to figure out how to get it out of the. I'm trying to figure out how to get it out of the case now to sort of demonstrate this, but I can't. There's no easy way. You can't. It's a thick piece, so you can't get a fingernail under it. I ended up using like a plastic fork, because like that was unlikely to scratch it. So yeah, like Zavi 1, New Zealand Mint 0. Bit of a,
and that's going to be even harder if you're trying not to smudge and get fingerprints on it and stuff.
Exactly. Although it's in like the coin's in a plastic case. Like the plastic case is going to smudge and get fingerprints on it, but you know you can just wipe it off easily. But yeah, nicely presented coin, lovely artwork, relief of the Queen on the back. I believe it might be the last one that comes with the Queen. There are 3 other coins yet to come in this series from New Zealand Mint. I believe the next one is due for release at the end of October. Not sure whether it's going to be Megatron or Starscream or Bumblebee or whoever else. They haven't quite said yet. But I'm really looking forward to collecting all of these coins and getting the set there. I am showing the New Zealand Mint website. No, I'm not. The screen share is off. The New Zealand Mint website is on my screen. It's nzmint.com. But we did actually see in our Facebook group there's I think it's called Direct Coin or Direct Coins Australia also have the item for sale. Now, if you import it from New Zealand, they do charge you in Australian dollars, but because they're shipping it in from New Zealand, they will also add GST onto it. So that adds an extra $15 and makes the price more like 170, a little over 170. Whereas if you buy from Direct Coin, I think the price is $152, but you would then have to pay, I think, $10 or so for shipping. It does work out cheaper if you get it from Direct Coin by about $10. I might try them for the second release, but I was very impressed with the fact that this got FedExed to me within a few days of my purchase. So New Zealand Mint is definitely not fucking around with my money like other places that take pre-orders, which we've already talked about tonight. So with that's the end of the news tonight. Let's talk a little bit about acquisitions. Daria, you've got an acquisition up there. Do you want to talk us through?
This guy's kind of representing his whole team just because of the size of my desk. And those of you watching the stream will be able to see that this is the Generation 2 Combiner Wars Skydive. Also in the stream, you'll see I'm wearing bright red gloves just because I've got to break them in for later and stretch them over my hands properly, but they make pointing out details very easy. I got the set of, well, actually it was discounted because it didn't have Power Glide as the G2, but I've got the G1 Combiner Wars Power Glide, so that's fit in nicely anyway. But yeah, it is the 5 classic G1 guys in their G2 decos, more or less, in their Combiner Wars bodies, which means it's Slingshot or Quick Slinger, as he's called in that branding, instead of Alpha Bravo. apparently by now they finally learned how to make gold plastic that doesn't suffer from gold plastic syndrome. So he won't be turning into dust by the end of the week. These are pretty satisfyingly chunky bots and planes. They've still got nicely intact facial sculptures too. They're a bit bare of details if you're used to them having the stickers and things, but they do have tampos, seeing things like their wing pattern and the G2 Autobot crest on there. We'll say the limb guys have a bizarre leg arrangement, which is like pulled out, double extended, double folded to get back into place.
I do remember that on the Wave 1 Combiner Wars aerial bots, trying to work out exactly what to do with the legs. It was also, I think at the time, it was also considered quite clever.
Oh, yeah. I think because I didn't actually get them with instructions, it took me a while to work out what I was supposed to be doing because it's atypical. They're also a bit toned down in color from the actual G2 ones from back in the 1990s. And that suits me a bit better as planes. It means they're mostly grey, blue, and white, which is colours planes actually are. So it's not quite the G2 Combaticon syndrome of bright yellow missile trucks and things. The only ones that really stand out and that are Silverbolt's highlights being a bright pale red against blue. So he got the G2ist legacy treatment. But I'm pretty satisfied with them.
The G2ist of the G2s.
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with them. Their characters I like, most importantly, and even though there's not great variation between the toys, they're, like I said, they're satisfyingly tactile and chunky. I haven't put them into Superion mode yet. I've just been admiring them as bots and planes for a while. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, with the squad that JJ Ulm calls Silverbolt leading 3 assholes and a nerd. And the nerd here is always been my favorite one, so he gets to represent his whole team tonight. But yeah, I was actually surprised to find them as intact as I did. I think whoever was, at first I thought they might be knockoffs. They don't seem to be. I think someone just had a I'm done with this moment and I got a good deal out of that rather than them doing a proper curated collector sell. But everyone wins. So yeah, I'm satisfied with my Flyboys.
Yeah. That's the G2 versions of the Combiner Wars molds. I think by the time they came out, I was a bit over all the Combiner Wars combiners, so I never looked at them particularly closely, but since we're starting to see some G2 Stunticons come out in Legacy, there's been a bit of a renewed interest in the G2 Stunticons, and of course, once where go G2 Stunticons, G2 aerial bots follow soon after as well. So, yeah, I think they've been maybe not front of mind, but they've been around in people's minds a little bit in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked the idea from Combiner Wars that some of the teams changed up their membership too. I just like the idea. Kind of says stuff's still going on, that we're not constantly leaning on a reset button.
There's actually a war going on, and sometimes the Combiner teams get affected by it. Yeah. Do you have any other acquisitions you'd like to talk about?
I will mention in passing, although it's not here, I can't actually show it off, is I was going to, basically back when I thought the Velocitronians were going to be just the one and done squad, I was going to get them, and then when I found out it's going to be a whole thing, I thought, okay, no, that's not quite where I want to go, but I have picked up Road Hauler, and I've had a secret love for his obscurity ever since, well, he became an actual character rather than, oh, come on, you all know that's Grapple.
Yes.
I kind of like the idea that he was the Constructicon who missed the meeting when they all turned evil.
I think wasn't the story for Road Hauler that he was he was an evil Constructicon who turned good or something, or I don't know, I can't remember.
It varies. In one version, it sticks close to the TVs, and it says, "Oh, he just wasn't with the squad the day Megatron tinkered with their brains. He just wasn't there." And so, when he saw what had happened, he was like, "Oh, this freaks me out so much. I have to go join the Autobots instead." Sometimes they just became eviler and eviler, and he was like, I'm a guy who builds things. Being a guy who destroys things, I kind of feel that's going against the grain."
That was always the funny thing about the Constructicons. They were so involved in destruction, right?
Yeah, Constructicons are one of those sets whose character had actually been fairly intact the whole time. You can probably nail most of their personalities, or all their personalities, pretty easily in most stories.
I've never been particularly au fait with identifying particular personalities of members of combiner teams. I just tend to sort of identify them with the overall broad strokes of the combiner.
Well, this might be a symptom of my fiction first thing, or it might just be that's just how I view the characters thing. I don't know. I do kind of wish that IDW Constructicon backstory series had been called Eve of Construction, though.
Fair enough. Yeah. Look, I'm gonna move us on. Cause I'm a bit conscious that we're running close to an hour and a half now, and Brad likes it when we're shorter for editing purposes. I'm gonna.
I feel that, Brad.
Around. Yeah. I'm lucky. I never have to actually edit this stuff. So I'm very grateful to Brad for actually doing the edits every week. I'll bring up my major acquisition for the week here. We've got the so-called SDCC set. Not that it's actually SDCC was a couple of months ago now. It's just the convention exclusive set. It is the A Hero Is Born legacy set. If I put this there, I can't see my screen anymore. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go back to this layout. A Hero Is Born set. It is a set of repaints. I have already opened it, despite just sort of flashing the box around there. So we do have the Alpha Trion repaint of the Studio Series Scourge. I'm just going to put that up there. Get a look at that face sculpt. Like the face sculpt. I think it's blurry. I don't know. Like if I do that.
You can definitely see the difference, of course.
Yeah, you can definitely see the difference. The flowing beard instead of the goatee. Really like it. Really like the colors on him. The color map, and of course there's the big Autobot logo there as well. He still has the same, sort of like pointy hands that Scourge has, but at least he doesn't have sort of he doesn't have the evil fingertips that Scourge has. So you sort of don't matter. It's not that you don't matter. It's you don't notice them as much.
I was surprised it took this long for a Scourge to become an Alpha Trion, because I noticed the similarities since way back when, and I thought this was an absolute gimme.
I guess so, yeah. Maybe part of it also is sort of trying to find space on that mold to accommodate the beard on the head and the head design as well. I mean, especially with some of the Generations ones where there was very little. I was looking at the comments there. Someone said there's no cloak on him. I'm out. You can get your own cloak and add it to him. Although I will also. I had a discussion with someone today, and you know what? I think I can make this work. Hold on just a second. Let me see. I'm not actually sure where this would attach, but I have been told that the Coronation set cape works quite well with him, but I don't know where it would plug in the back. it might just be a case of sitting the 5mm peg on the the hook over him at the back. And let's see if you do that. That's gone well. If you were to do that and just sort of hold that up there and just sort of like imagine that it sits together, there you go. There's sort of there's a kind of an Alphatron with a cape. You might need an extra piece or something. Like there's or
at least some blue tack.
Yeah, you better put blue tack. There's this apparatus on his back. I would say that you could probably plug some kind of an adapter into that to plug the cape into, but or sort of sit it in there. But yeah, you know, I would actually be interested to see some kind of an adapter to hold that the cape up there. That would go quite well. Or someone can just make their own cape that sits over his shoulders and the like. So yeah, that'd be fine. What else have we got there? Wait, where's the other figure in the set? There it is. It's,
I was going to say, we need to see Orion.
There's the Orion Pax Cup repaint. Curiously, coming still with his Cups Energon goodies. I guess it's part of the mold, so they may as well give you the piece. So it's a really nice repaint of the Cup figure, which I think I have around here somewhere. Oh, he's been sitting here all week long, and now I can't find him. I think I can't find him because I think I took him to Oz Comic Con a few weeks ago, so I don't think he is on the desk. But yeah, so there's a look at the paint job and stuff with Orion Pax, and a bit of a look. Wait. I'm like the TV. I don't know which way things go, but there's a look at the head sculpt there as well. If I put my hand up behind that, it might help it focus, or it might not. We'll see how we go. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There's a good look at the head sculpt there as well. So they've definitely put some effort into the head sculpt for Orion Pax, and the sort of the retooled chest design with his window as well. And of course, because he is Cup, he also pulls apart, just like the Studio Series Cup. And
luckily you've got Alpha Tri on there to put him back together.
Yeah, and not only do you have Alphatron there, you also have a giant golf ball, which giant golf ball does come with a key to it, which might be the key to Vector Sigma. And I was looking at this morning. It does actually have a nice, appreciable shine and sheen to it as well. And it comes on a stand.
Does it pop open, or is that just the seam of how they made it?
It does not ship in a way that pops open. I imagine it can.
Yeah, I just couldn't tell if that was an opening or just a seam in the plastic.
It probably is a seam that's related to how they construct it. I can't really see it there, but if I hold that up there, this. Like all modern accessories, the accessories all come wrapped up in a big piece of paper stuck into the box, and the Vector Sigma bauble it's got a big wrap of paper around it. It's like they just someone could have just wrapped up a scrunched up bit of paper and put it in there. You wouldn't necessarily know. It's just like, oh, they've wrapped the ball in paper and put it in there for me. So yeah, thanks for that. The stand does come in two pieces as well. So the ball comes in. I just tried to take that apart. It really doesn't want to come apart. There we go. The ball comes in its own wrap, and the pieces of the stand come in a separate wrap inside the figure. And now that we have spoken a little bit about this, we have appropriately enabled Chris Hunt. He says, "Okay, I'm glad I got the order in. Kind of need it. It's only taken us an hour and a half to get you from no to go. So, anytime you feel like some enabling going on, do give us a yell." Nameless Facebook user says, "How's the plastic feel on Vector Sigma? Is it light? Is it fragile?" It is just like a plastic globe. Like, it's not solid, so yes it's light. I would not say it's especially fragile. That's essentially I'm going to say it's a 5mm port to I'm going to say it's a 5mm port to stick on the bottom of it, and I'm going to test it in the stupidest way possible by applying the cape to it. There we go. So the Vector Sigma is indeed compatible with 5mm ports for whatever you want to do with it, which does of course mean that you can arm it if you so desire, and it could cruise around. It could cruise around and just shoot people. I'm actually vaguely aware that I don't know where Alpha Trion's gun has gone, but I'll turn the lights on after we're done recording the podcast, and I'll be able to find that gun, I'm sure. While I'm on acquisitions.
Sorry, someone asked a tie-in question for that one. We think you get an Ariel, and once upon a time,
yes,
yeah, it may have been Aaron asking that. Once upon a time, I would have said no, I don't think it's that likely. But we just spent 15 minutes talking about the new Galaxy Shuttle figure, and I have a Lifeline figure on my shelf, so very possibly.
Yeah, I would say that the answers to these questions are not as straightforward as they once might have been. We've heard anecdotally that like Mark Marr turns up to meetings at Hasbro and just throws out extremely obscure pieces of Transformers history that he wants to do as toys on a very regular basis. So I would say all bets are off in terms of like, yes, we will or won't, or no, we won't get anything. I think there's a lot of, especially in a line like Legacy, I think there's a lot of Transformers history on the table that we could see turned into, returned to us as toys.
Yeah, and
I have one other piece of
Hasbro. Sorry, go on.
Go on. No, it's all right.
Hasbro have said, okay, we're going to do obscure characters. Just watch us now. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's so doing a line like Legacy, as it sort of used to be, so, how they used to do Thrilling 30 and things like that. Like having a line like Legacy really does open up the creative opportunities to really do characters from across different continuities, which does link nicely to the other character that I've got in my hand here, which is Armada Starscream. So this is the Wave 3 Legacy Voyager Armada Starscream. I don't have any particular connection to Unicron Trilogy figures. I'm not a particular fan of Unicron Trilogy, but I do really like this Starscream figure. He does come with a little Star Saber sword. Comes with a single wing blade for some reason, and he's got these sort of flip back cannons that sit on his back, and can also sort of take that classic look with sort of the jets sitting by his side of his shoulders there from the Generations figures as well. So there's a lot of options built into the way that things move and shake with this mold. Really, I quite like it, and also because we do often call it out. That head sculpt is also really nice there as well.
Oh, that's a good catch of it. Yeah,
turn him that way. So yeah, really quite fond of that head sculpt. So yeah, I've got a few new figures that are hanging around this week that I'll be sticking up and taking some photos with later on. I think that's it. That's it for the show. That's it for acquisitions. I think that's it for news. We're pretty much done. Do we have anything that we need to get to before we finish?
I think we're done. We've covered the figures. Basically, we've sizzled Earthspark in both physical and media forms until it comes out, but it hasn't yet. So there's only so much to say about that, really.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So, all right. Before we go, a couple of last minute bits of news about club and production notes. So TCCA club news. Memberships are open for 2022 and 2023. People who are watching us live in the Facebook group tonight, I can tell you we did break 200 members in our Well, I would say first month. I'm going to say first month and 1 week because we did extend our promotion and we did break 200 members today. It's our fastest membership uptake in the history of the club. It's been fantastic to see. It's really, really lovely to see all of the support. And because we've hit 200 members, we are running a giveaway with some prizes that have been kindly donated to us. The base level prize was 3 prizes. It was an Origin Bumblebee, a Kingdom Red Alert, which was not released in Australia, and a Velocitron Cosmos, which may as well not have been released in Australia. We will put those 3 up for grabs. Anyone who has, if you're watching us live in the Facebook group, anyone who signs up for membership by 11:59 and 59 seconds tonight, that's about an hour and 20 minutes left to go. That anyone who signs up for membership will go into the draw, and if you are drawn out, you will get a pick of those prizes. Because we hit 100 members, we added Combiner Wars Devastator into the prize pool, and because we hit 200 members today, we've also added the Earthrise Seeker Elite Ramjet and Dirge 2-pack. Now, that's extremely rare. So like we really are celebrating the fact that we hit 200 members inside one month, maybe a month and a bit. One of our lucky members is going to take that away. All 5 of those prizes are going to go to different members. You won't be able to win multiple prizes in here. I'm sorry, but we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go with other prizes over the course of the year. Also, we do want to note for podcast production, we will be moving release of the podcast from Monday nights to Tuesday nights. You might be listening to this on Tuesday. We do apologize if you start the week with the show, but it is just required behind the scenes so we can get our ducks in a row, make sure that the edit happens in a timely fashion. Just so, as we mentioned, we're very grateful to Brad for editing all of these podcasts. This is episode 262. Brad's been editing these podcasts for us for a long time and just needs a little bit of extra time to get the podcast in order for release. So you will find that new episodes will pop up in your podcatching feed on Tuesday nights from now on. And that is it. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for watching along with the live record. We are aware that a bunch of people have been. There's some lovely comments in the chat room. You will find out more about these stories with links to them and more in the show notes. You can get in touch with both Daria and myself. We obviously like to hang out in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. You can also find the podcast's official website at transformersweekly.podbean.com. And you will, of course, find us in your podcatcher of choice, ready to hit that subscribe button. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, a registered club in Victoria run by Victorians. No, it's not run by Victorians. It's run by volunteers who donate their time, effort, energy, money, and Friday nights to make things better for everyone who collects Transformers in Australia. Our goal is to build the Australian Transformers collecting community. And we are the largest Transformers fan group in the country, and we do it by engaging fans, going to conventions, making content like this podcast, and we also run the largest dedicated Australian Transformers discussion and sales communities. You can find out more about the club, what we do, and the membership benefits for it by going to transformerscca.com. That is it from us. Daria, do you want to tell people where to find you on the socials?
Yes, you can find me, as Jason said, I'm often in the Facebook group anyway. You can also find me at Vindaloo_Vixen on Twitter. And
there it is on screen.
As of recently, you can look at my performance art page of Velvet Garnet on Facebook.
That one I don't have ready to go. You're going to have to give me that one later.
Yeah, well, just type Velvet Garnet into Facebook and you're good.
Excellent. And you can find myself hanging out most of the time on Twitter, tweeting about Transformers and doing all sorts of things there. And of course, you can find me in Transformers Collectors Club Australia on Twitter, on Facebook. And yes, sorry, I was reading my Twitter URL on screen is twitter.com/JM77. That is it from us. We will be back with more Transformers news soon. Hopefully next week. We'll see how we go. I think we've managed to get a podcast out 3 weeks in a row. I think the Facebook group doesn't really know what's hit them. I don't know if podcast subscribers are catching up with all of our content or not, but it feels good to actually be up and current with Transformers news. So thank you very much thanks for joining me down from Canberra down there, and thanks everyone for listening and watching.
Night, y'all.